Government says it doesn't know who is abducting. In fact, they are now alleged abductions. Political factions are, accusing each other. Former deputy president has actually been accused of conducting these abductions. People are being accused of. One side is saying, we've seen the leader of majority saying some have been locking up themselves. This whole abduction conundrum, what exactly are we seeing? What do we need to see beyond or deeper into these still waters?
First of all, in law, the government is banned, it's not allowed by law to say that it doesn't know who is abducting. The Inspector General of Police cannot say that because it is his duty to know. So you see, there is what we call duty of care.
Yeah.
The government has duty of care for our lives and our property. In fact, that's why it exists. There is no other reason for government existing. So what is striking, though, is the lack of humanity in us. It's like we have become soulless. You see, the country is becoming more narcissistic. You see, narcissism is an incurable disease because the narcissists love to see narcissism and sadism go together. They like to see people suffering, like to see the suffering. Then they lack empathy. They are completely unfeeling. And if you listen to what was happening in Western Kenya, then you are shocked. Is this a country of people or a country of human animals? Because if you can't feel for the other Kenyan, if you can't feel for that crying Embu family, then you are not alive. You understand? You are not normal. Now, this is narcissism at its best, though. People need to understand that before I guess we elect people, we need to know whether they are a good mother. You know, somebody said we need to check whether the parents. Now, it need to go the other way around because the children in psychology, they develop what is called attachment to a primary caregiver between the first and the 18th month. If you didn't have that, when you grow up, become an adult, you think the whole world is against you. So what happens when you are a big person in policy making? Everyone else is wrong except you. So you are the only one who is right, everybody else is wrong. Now, this is what is happening to us because this is something that should not be happening. You know, it's much easier to do the right thing. It's much easier to offer good governance. It's much easier to offer integrity in the management of public affairs than to abduct. It's more complicated, but also, now that you ask that question, who has the power to track people down and abduct? Let me ask you, who has the power? The power to track you, we have given it to 3 agencies. We have given it to the National Intelligence Service. Okay? They have the power to know where you are any given time. They can know that I'm in this station. Now, we are also giving it to the CID, the arm that does crime research. Okay? We have given that power also to the military intelligence. If these people don't know who is doing this thing, then they are telling us we don't have a country. Do you understand? So they can't get away from this. And I think, given the fact that they are already releasing them because things became a little hot, it can tell you that who is doing it. Now, the other fellow you are talking about, the Gachagua, that one, he just talks too much, if you ask me. He has no power to abduct anything. Where would he get the power from? First of all, the Kenyan state is one of the most strongest states in Africa. This is not a country you can play around with and do criminal things. They will catch you the same day you do it, trust me. We have the most effective police force on earth. There is nothing can be done here which they don't want, and they don't get hold of it in the same day. That's how they have been able to protect us from the terrorists. Otherwise, you know, so I think this argument need to cease. They need to grow up, in my opinion, listening to a complaint. A complaint is a complaint. You see, when these children do satire, because that's what really I see, it is satire there. And if you have been looking in the social media, since the abduction, it has increased. It has now.
There was a new one today.
The new one undressing the president, doing all that kind of stuff. Because what happened is that they are provoked. Okay, they are not scared. They are being provoked. So it's much easier to do the right thing. But there's something Nakawanja said which I would like to emphasize.
Yes.
We have converted the civil service to opportunity for richness. Public service is supposed to be a sacrifice that you do to the fellow citizen, that you do to your motherland. But for us in this country, it's an opportunity to get rich. It's not an opportunity to serve. Now, how do we do it? We don't care. You see, they say that if it's not broken, don't fix. Mm-hmm. But if you don't fix, because the only way you steal on government public money is through projects. Mm-hmm. So you have to create project even where you are not supposed to create any. Mm-hmm. And this is why you see we have changed education how many times now? Four times. We inherited this thing from Britain. Mm-hmm. They have never changed theirs, the one we inherited from them. Mm-hmm. Tanzania inherited the same system from England. They have never changed. Neither has Uganda. Mm-hmm. But ourselves, we have changed 4 times because every time officials come in the ministry, they sit down and they say, okay, how do we make money here? We must have a new project. Okay? Then they proceed to implement.